speedrun? No. We're not doing that speedrun here. This is gonna be quality content. Okay, look, so we're only gonna be doing... Should I turn off dark mode? I swear this is like hard as to look at. Oh god, my eyes. Holy shit, maybe not. We'll do S, A, B, and C. We'll take these out. We don't need this. Alright, here's how we'll classify it. S will mean... This will probably be the meta. This will be like the best choices. A will be really good choices that you'll be flexing. Like you'll be seeing A in the highest levels or in MDI, whatever. B will be the class has potential, but you're probably not going to be seeing it played. And C will be this class needs help. There's like very little reason to no reason to play this over any of these other specs. That's how we'll classify it. Alright, so what do we start with? You know what? We'll start with Holy Paladin since Holy Paladin is a clear S. Make an alt based on this? Alright. So Holy Paladin is like definitely an S tier. It's still going to be the go-to meta healer. Rogue as well. Rogue especially more important now than ever, I think, just because in the new season, it's going to be really important to have routes around a Rogue. Because like having Shroud and like being able to get to your powers fast, or just like skipping a lot of stuff. Alright, what else do we want to look at? You know what, we'll just go down this list. Afflock, I'll say it's a B. It's like a really solid B. I think this class does have a lot of potential. Single target's kind of lackluster now, but from what I've seen, it does really good AoE damage. I think this class can do a ton of damage. Arcane Mage. Oh man, that's a hard one. I really want to put in B, but at the same time, there's like almost no reason to take it over Fire or Frost. And I'm like a firm believer that Arcane is just not very good. I'll put Arcane in C. Cause like, I know a lot of Arcanes swear by Arcane, but goddamn, this class does not have a DB. This class is basically melee, and it just doesn't provide anything compared to Frost and Fire. I think it's just like strictly worse than Frost and Fire. But it's not a bad spec, not by any means. Arms Warrior, C tier, because it's a melee, and it just like strictly does less damage than some of these other stuff. If this wasn't a melee, it'd actually not be that bad. Sin Rogue, I would put in B tier just because I would put in C if it was like strictly worse than Outlaw, but there are situations where Sin can be better because they do more single target, so they might be alright in like trying to go Plague 4 or something. So I can see this being okay. Bear Tank, obvious S tier, probably the best tank, but I do also think that Vengeance, because like it's sort of a wash between these two tanks. I think in a lot of situations you want to be choosing between the two. You don't want to be like, alright, I'm only playing Bear or I'm only playing DH. Because if you think either one of them was strictly better than the other one, that's just wrong. So I think they're both S tiers. Alright, Blood Decay. Nah, I think Blood Decay is a B. Because honestly, this tank is tankier than some of these other tanks. Like, I honestly think that in a lot of situations, Blood Decay is actually tankier than Vengeance. It's just not good enough to be put any higher. But at the same time, I wouldn't put in C because there are situations where you would value Blood Decay a little more than some of these other tanks. BM Hunter, C, there's like no reason to play BM over Marksman. It's actually ridiculous. Boomy, A, because it's a super flexible pick. If you had to fill in your DPS, I think Boomy is one of the fill DPS. So it's like definitely an A tier. Brewmaster, I would put in B too. It's very similar to Blood Decay, where it's situationally better. Actually, I mean, maybe we put in A, honestly, because I feel like Brewmaster might actually be the best tank in Plaguefall after seeing what Andy has done. But for now, we'll just put in B. It's like a really close to A. That's how I see it. Demolock, C. I've seen Zaro play this once. It's complete trash. There's like absolutely zero reason to play this over any of the other Warlock specs. Destro, I'm not sure. I actually don't know. But I would assume it performs similarly to Afflock. Probably not that far off. This Priest, I would put in A. This will probably always be an A in this expansion. Only because of PI. That's like the only reason. If it wasn't for PI, I don't think this spec would be any higher than A. It'd probably be in like B. Ellie Shaman, obvious, S tier. This is going to be a meta DPS for sure. Alright, now, Ellie Shaman. I don't know why the hell... So, what does Ellie ever have over... Or what does Enhance have over Ellie? It literally has nothing over Ellie. It's just a melee version that does less damage. Which is actually ridiculous. So, C tier. Resto Druids, same situation as Enhancement Shaman. There's like absolutely zero reason to pick Feral. Like I'm sure any of these specs could do damage, but there's like literally zero reason to pick Feral at the moment. Fire Mage, S tier. Still probably one of the best DPS in the game. And Frost Mage, I would put in A. I do think in a lot of situations, Frost Mage are and will do more DPS than a Fire Mage, but the Fire Mage damage is way more important. There are so many situations where you need Combust just to blow up a AoE pack. Frost Decay... C. Only because I think Unholy is B. I think Frost is just a strictly worse version of Unholy. It just has like a shittier damage profile. But I do think the damage of Frost Decay is not bad. It's just that at the moment, it's like I've said with C. C is like, you would never pick this over the other ones, and there's zero reason to pick it over Unholy Decay. But it's definitely not as bad spec. Fury... Okay, you know what? I do think there are situations where you might want Fury Warrior. I think the only situation you would want a Fury Warrior is if like you're doing Feeder of Pain with a Rogue and a Windwalker, and you want that Battle Shout or something, I don't know. But like there's like no reason you would pick a Fury Warrior over some of these other melees. As a melee, you have to be very cautious about your spot. Havoc? I honestly think Havoc could be a flex meta pick. Like if you're playing without a Vengeance nowadays, say you're playing Bear Tank and Fire Mage and Boomy, I think Havoc would be a really good contender. Havoc's actually really solid damage, and just getting Chaos Brand from them instead of the Vengeance, it's like a sort of a flex pick. I think it's a good choice. Holy Priest is actually really good. Like I actually think it heals more than this Priest, but I'm gonna have to put it in B. Just because I think for good players or like higher level players, this Priest is strictly better. The shields, the DRs from like, you know, Dome and Pain Sup, and just being able to passively do damage means that this is like just the better version of Holy. Although I do think that Holy is more noob friendly and you can definitely put out more healing with Holy. Marksman is going to be a pretty hot take, I think, but I think it's going to be A tier. I honestly feel like Marksman is a really good flex pick, especially for like MDI setting. If you're not doing really high keys, if you're doing anywhere from MDI level to like pretty high keys, Marksman actually does a crap ton of damage, and Hunter utility is really good. But you probably wouldn't see this in the highest key. This class is way too squishy, and there's not a lot of spots for DPS. But I do think this is like a solid pick for flexing. Mistweaver, B tier. I think Mistweaver is just like Holy Priest. This class actually heals a lot. Mistweaver heals a lot, but the damage still isn't quite there compared to these other healers. And I don't think it's like quite C, just because like there's never a situation where you never pick this. Definitely not too bad. Prop Paladin, I really want to put this in A, but I think it's a B. Because you would never really flex a Prop Pally. Like you would flex between Bear, Vengeance, and Prot Warrior actually. Probably would be in solid A. I would put Prot in S, but there are way less situations where you pick Prot over these two. Prot Warrior is actually really strong. And Prop Paladin is really strong too. I would put this like pretty close to A, but I don't think there are any situations where you would pick Prop Paladin over these top 3 tanks. But it's definitely really strong. Resto Druid, I think, is a solid B as well. Be very careful with this next one. I think Resto Druid is really good. You know what? I'll actually give it an A. How about that? I do think you can fit it in the meta, especially after Holy Paladin's been nerfed. But single target damage on this class is actually not bad. Wait, but no, you know what? There's also Resto Shaman. I'm sorry, I take that back. What? Resto Shaman belongs in the solid A. I do think Resto Shaman is a way better pick nowadays than before. Because like, Holy Paladin is still probably the best pick, but I feel like you can definitely flex Resto Shaman nowadays. I'm sorry for Resto Druids, Mistweavers, and Holy Priest, but they just don't hold a candle to Resto Shamans. Resto Shaman is actually really good. Red Paladin, oh man, I really want to put this in B just because I feel like it has niche utility. There definitely are reasons and situations where you want to have it, but at the same time, like... yeah, no, there's no way. I'm sorry, Red Paladin. I actually love this spec. Shadow Priest is a really solid A at the moment. Shadow Priest is probably like the definition of A, aside from Boomy, I guess. I feel like these two, you flex the most. I guess Windwalker as well. I might as well put Windwalker here. These are like really good flex picks. In the situations where you don't need a rogue, you're much better off having a Boomy, Shadow Priest, or Windwalker. And in situations where you don't need like a Fire Mage, you can always go Windwalker or something. Sub Rogue, I'll put it in similar as Sin Rogue just because the man says so. I'm really not sure how Sub Rogues are right now, but I feel like maybe you would pick them over Outlaw in like situations where you need that priority damage. I don't actually know though. Survival Lamau. Not only does this class do less than an MM Hunter, but it's also melee. Why the hell is this a melee spec? This is the thing that blows my mind. I feel like by just being a melee, you automatically go down in so much. There's like such a bad reason to pick a melee over these high DPSs at the moment. But there you have it. So like I said, S is probably gonna be the meta picks, and A will be the flex ones. So like, you know, you can sub out some of these. You can sub out Holy Paladin for Resto Shaman for sure. B, what did I say B was? B was basically, there are situations where you might possibly want them. They're actually like really solid picks, but you probably won't see them in the meta. C is like just, they need help. This is a dorky statement if I've ever seen one. Dude, it's true though.